Hello and welcome to a Yin practice. Yin is a different practice to the usual dynamic vinyasa that so many people kind of associate with yoga these days. It's a slower practice and it's done mostly down on the floor, hence me lying down here at the moment. So we're going to get going. So you need some props for Yin. We're going to have an option. You can either take the yoga props, which is some blocks of different shapes, a strap, maybe a tennis ball, or if you're at home, you can just use some books for the blocks, dressing gown cord for the strap, and then something I don't have at home is a bolster, something to kind of lie yourself over, so some pillows, like a puff. So I've got a selection of kit around me. We're going to get started by coming to lie on your back, coming into what we call pentacle in Yin. Pretty much shavasana in other practice, but with a little bit more space. Coming to lie on your mat, take your arms and legs as wide as you can. And you're just taking these first few moments of your practice to slow down, let everything that's gone in your day or in your week or even in your year before, to soften around the edges and allow your attention to come into your physical body through your breath. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. As you breathe in and breathe out, beginning to notice the subtle shifts and sensations within the physical body as you simply breathe and let go in this shape. Beginning to notice any areas that feel tight or tense begin to show up. Equally, any areas that you can't quite get hold of, feel a little bit dull or disconnected. Nothing to do right now, just notice the state, the being that you've found yourself in this morning, or this evening, or this afternoon. Slowly beginning to move, and we move very slowly and carefully in this practice, and you want your transitions to be as important and attentive as your postures when you find them. So a suggestion I offer is to allow your right leg to roll out to the side, just flop open, and then just sliding the side of your leg up the floor, bring your right knee towards your right armpit. And then when it can't get any further, just roll onto the sole of your right foot so your knee comes up, working with the circular movements within your body. Doing the same with the left, rolling your leg open, sliding it up, and then rolling onto the sole of your foot, coming into restful pose. And just taking a moment in this first active posture, well, active as in fully attentive. So in this posture, you want your feet to be just a little bit further away from your butt than they would be in bridge, a little bit wider than hip distance, so that your knees don't want to fall out or fall in, but feel the sense of weight into your sacrum, that space at the base of your spine, and the soles of your feet. Feel the natural curves in your spine, so a little space at the lower back and also at the neck. If it feels too much or too little at the neck, Just lifting your head, tilting your chin, lengthening through the back of your neck, drawing your shoulder blades down your spine, adjusting to find that support. And here I want you to think about letting all of your muscles soften and relax, as if your bones are holding you up. And as you breathe in and breathe out, although there's no particular cue to control your breath in yin, you want to feel and be aware of it. And here it's nice to really feel it move deeply into your lower belly. Breathing into your hips and pelvis. Allowing any tension in the pelvic floor, the lower belly, into the hips to relax. And beginning to feel a sense of qualities of water within that area. Sloshing and loose, relaxed, released. So in yin, we work into our bodies by creating areas of stress, whether that's a stretch, a compression, or a twist. This is one of the postures where there's no stress. You're slowly going to roll over on one side, so whichever side makes sense for you in the space that you're in. Allow the movement to come from your hip sockets. So think about your thigh bones just gently dropping to one side. And then follow that movement with your shoulder, rolling onto your side. Supporting yourself as you come up. We're going to come into our first most activated posture, which is broken toe. So taking a block or a book is really helpful here. So what you're going to do is to come to kneel and then turn all 10 toes under, including your baby toe. It will want to escape, but catch it. You're sending your hips back towards your heels. Now so the area that of the body you're working into is the feet. So the soles of the feet, behind each toe, all the way up here, and then it'll in turn work the back line of your leg. But if this is uncomfortable for you, I'm okay with it. If it's painful for you, you can adjust. So taking the book or the block behind the back of your knees will help ease off that tension in the feet. If it's still too much, you can bring your hands to the mat and just ease yourself back. If just kneeling is enough for you today, just stay with that. Sit back with your feet flat on the floor and you're working into the quads. But really you're trying to get into the sole of your foot if you possibly can. So it's not comfortable. This is not there's a thing out there. So you're going to come, let's just get into the posture. We're only holding this for a minute or two, so it's not a long time. But to distract you, I'll witter on for a little bit. There's a kind of perception of yin that it's like this chilled out restorative practice. And there's definitely restorative qualities about it, but it's not restorative yoga. That's an entirely different practice. This is an active practice into the tissues of your body. You're just activating them in a different way than, a hot, sweaty vinyasa class. So you're creating these areas of stress and taking yourself to the edge of wherever that stress is for you that day, wherever is appropriate for you that day. And then you sit with that, and in doing so, you're working into the connective tissues within your body. These tissues are more plastic, less elastic than muscle, so take time to warm up and find space. They're the tissues that hold you together, that bind us. Fascia. It's like a web of tissue, and if you took all of your organs, your bones, your flesh, your skin out of your body and left only your fascia, you'd be recognizably you. You'd be like one of those 3D models. This is uncomfortable, so this is why I'm chatting. Just stay with it. If it gets a little bit too much, just ease off a tiny bit and then come back. Notice how it's kind of responding in your body. So for me right now, this is coming first to my heart, it's like a vibration up to my heart, and kind of a little bit of an ice cream headache. Use your breath. With each exhale, just breathe into the discomfort, knowing that it's going to end in just a second or two. So come out slowly. Bring your hands to the mat and then just lift your feet. Don't do anything else, just let that release and relief flood through your body. And now if it feels good, begin to turn your ankles, spread your toes. Coming back to kneel. We're going to come into the opposite posture for this. So it's again nice to take support. So taking either a block or a pillow. I'm going to take a block. So you're going to now work into the front of your feet. So the front of the feet into where the toes are, where the ankle is, right across the front of the foot. And it will show up differently for each of us because we hold different, everybody holds tension in different places. So again, we're just holding this for a minute or two, so it's not a long time, but it's not necessarily comfortable. So bringing your knees up. So I've damaged my ankle the other week, so I'm not brilliant at balancing anyway, but if you can come up and balance, that's great. But it's not about the balance. What you're looking to do is keep your weight down into the fronts of your feet, into the ankles, and work on creating a little bit of stress there. One of the quickest, one of the areas we lose flexibility and balance kind of the soonest in our lives is into our ankles. And I actually don't know, I'm not a doctor, but I kind of imagine it might be because we're often kind of turning our ankles and spraining our ankles as we grow up and as we grow older. And we don't really take an awful lot of time to pay attention to it, even to let it mend. We just kind of go, oh, for a couple of hours or days, and then eventually it kind of sorts itself out. As it sorts itself out, it creates little kind of patches of toughness where the healing's taking place, but not necessarily in the best way possible. And so as we come into a posture like that, where we feel the tension, it might be where in some previous experience we've caused an injury, and the tissues as they've mended have become thicker. And so here we're just gently easing into that thick tissue, that fascia. And in doing so, beginning to bring a little bit more warmth, a little bit more elasticity back to it. And that gives it an opportunity to become hydrated once more. So these tissues like to be really, really hydrated. But they dry up with age and with injury and with stress. So the stress that we create in these postures helps bring that hydration back, allowing them to glide more easily around all the other tissues of the body, giving us better range of motion and flexibility. So coming out of this one. And again, just come out easy. Coming to kneel, or if that's not comfortable for you, coming onto all fours. Just a moment of release and rebound. So that's the worst of it over. The rest of them from here might be uncomfortable, might be challenging, but probably not as intense as those postures. The intensity shows up in different bodies in different ways. So we're focusing kind of on the legs, kind of the bike's giving me ideas. So people who cycle or maybe run or something often get tight through their legs. So these are really nice postures to take yourself into. You don't have to do a whole hour of them. You can just pick, 3 and spend 20 minutes in them. We're going to come into a hand angle. So taking either your strap or your dressing gown cord. If you've got a strap, create a big loop. We're going to start with the right side. You're taking the strap, sorry, I'm just taking my timer with me. You're going to take the strap around the ball of your right foot, and then you take the other end around your head. And you might need to adjust the strap once you've kind of got it in place. Micro bend of the knee. The area you're working into is the thigh, into the hamstrings on the right thigh. So where you take the strap is interesting. Whether you take it on the ball of the foot or into the arch, just where it feels good today. There's no right or wrong. Every posture looks different on everybody. Taking the strap around the back of your head above your ears so it's not straining your neck. You want to find a place where your neck feels long. So if you need a block behind your head, go for that. And you want to feel that nice stretch, openness into the back of your right thigh. And you do that by finding the appropriate shape using the strap. So if you've got a dressing gown cord, you might not have a loop, so just make it so that your arms can rest down on the mat, so you're not straining through your neck. You do not want to strain through your neck and shoulders. The stress is just in the right thigh right now, back of the right thigh. So once you've found your shape, think about letting go of the muscles. Think about them broadening and softening. So if this was just about the physical, it's not really yoga. It's interesting, it's an exercise. But in yoga we go a little bit beyond the physical body. So the areas that we're working into are also into the emotional and energetic body, as well as into your head. The tensions that show up as you hold these postures for 3 to 5 minutes is quite a long time in the usually busy worlds that we live in. Those frustrations might not be so much physical as mental or maybe emotional. Being still. Letting go, not pushing or striving, but allowing. The more we allow ourselves to be soft, to be vulnerable, to be open, the deeper, the further we can go. And the resistance starts with the head, in that you get distracted. Think of every other thing you could be doing or should be doing. So just come back to your breath. In and out. Sending your breath, sending your attention to the tissues that you're working into, the back of your right thigh. And with intention, release. Whatever it is you're holding on to, let it go. Sending your breath deep into your lower belly. Noticing if you're holding any tension there into the right hip. So it's not about bringing your toe to your nose. It is you hold this posture for these few minutes. And you're open to softening, to being, to allowing. You may begin to shift where your physical body first showed up. Really allow yourself to notice that. Not strive for something in particular that you've imagined will happen, but just notice what has and does happen. again, moving carefully. Take the strap from around your head or just lift your arms. And then slowly supporting your right leg, bring your right leg down to the mat. And just let go of the strap, let go. Coming into your rebound, noticing the qualities of the right side of your body, particularly from your right hip to the right toes. Anything that's shifted, anything that feels different, maybe to the left. Your leg might feel a little bit longer, or your glutes a little bit softer. Might even be a change in the temperature of your body on that side. And begin to come in on the left. Again, taking your strap and your dressing gown forward, and really taking some time to place, to find your posture. And you might need to adjust the strap. So our legs are not the same length, and our hips are definitely not the same. So really treat each side of your body differently, uniquely. And then when you're set up, settle in. So you kind of shift exactly how you get into that space in your thigh by gently rotating the thigh bone in the hip socket. So like just less than a millimeter. You just kind of shift a tiny little bit, rotate. You might find a space that's working even better for me today. Or if you take your leg a little into the midline of the body again, like a millimeter, it starts working through the outside line of your leg. So there's times when you practice and we take big movements. You take your right leg all the way over your left leg all the way open out to the left side. That's not what we're doing here. This is tiny micro movements, and you're noticing the impact of those within your body. The Yin practice is from the Chinese medicine tradition, and that's all about, really it's about balance. It's about really avoiding disease by noticing our body and its natural balance every moment, every day. And so as we come out of balance, as we become deficient in an area or overactive in an area, correcting that or pausing and supporting that. And it could be through medicine, but it can often be through the release of tension. And we talk about releasing blocks in our energetic channels. In the Chinese tradition, it's meridian lines that run through the body. The Indian tradition has nadis. And the Western world's only just catching up, really. They've recently discovered a new tissue called the interstitium. And again, that's thought to be a communication channel running through the body. These areas become blocked by some injury, like I was talking about in the ankle, or by disconnection and disassociation from the head or the heart. So maybe people who've suffered a trauma. That might be a physical trauma, but it could easily be a stress trauma from the head or the heart. So you actively want to look for those places that you also are finding it difficult to feel. Just allow the slowness, the stillness, the quietness of the practice to let you breathe in and around those spaces also. So here again, think about opening the back of your thigh it's like a kind of leg lifting through the back line of your leg without any push or effort. And you might be able to do that a little bit deeper by softening your belly, softening into the left hip. So I've got a little bit of a jump in my leg today, so if your leg's jumping around like mad, don't worry, it's perfectly normal. It's very frustrating, and that's just something you're going to work with today. I find bending my knee a little bit deeper helps. I haven't got a clue the real medical reason for it, but I've got a feeling it's to do with salts and dehydration. Well, certainly for me, I noticed that has an impact, so I haven't had quite enough salt, or maybe not enough liquid. It might be a bit jumpy. Just going to slowly release. Again, taking the strap from around your head and gently supporting your left leg as you bring it down. Forget about the strap, don't worry about the strap, just let it go. Coming into your rebounds, so coming back to that pentacle. These rebounds are an opportunity to check in, to notice how your body's responded. There's also an opportunity for once again breathing into the stillness, noticing that's a challenge for you today. Just being with it, knowing that it too will end, but like allowing yourself to slow down. So then coming out carefully, rolling your legs over. Coming up to your restful posture, knees up, taking a breath in and a breath out, rolling onto one side and making your way up. So we're going to come into a posture that some of you will be familiar with, called, or know it as, half pigeon. We give the postures different names in Yin, and one of the reasons is to remind ourselves that we're coming in with a different intention into this practice. So a half pigeon is called sleeping swan. Again, props, it's all about the props. So the thing about Yin is there's absolutely no one posture. What we're doing is creating shapes to work into target areas of your body. So what works for me won't work for you, how it looks on me won't look the same on you. There's no final version of the posture that we're looking for. We're always looking at the posture of what it needs to be for us today. So half pigeon or sleeping swan, the area you're working into is your butt, your glutes. So this is a great one for it, and a lot of people do it on a regular basis in all sorts of other practices, but we're going to come into it a slightly different way. So you're going to come in not through downward facing dog or anything too crazy. You're going to take or start with the right side, so bring your right knee behind your right wrist, any which way. I don't care if your shin is not square with the top of your mat, I really don't mind. What you're looking to do is walk the left leg back a bit, so you feel a little openness into the front of the left hip. And then the area we're trying to get to is the glutes on this side, this right side. So as you come down, you have your weight down into your hips and pelvis. No lifting up and lengthening, you can just kind of keep that support with your hands on the mat. If you need some support underneath that right hip, you can take it. Just try taking a block or a book. It doesn't have to get to the mat. It can feel nice to be up in the air, but as long as you're not kind of holding yourself up in the air. If you're somebody where you come straight all the way down to the mat on both sides, maybe you choose to take some blocks underneath your hip and above the left knee, lifting you up and giving you somewhere to drop towards. So choosing what feels good for you. I really like to start with a bit of support, particularly if I'm doing it near the beginning of the practice like today, underneath my forehead. So supporting my upper body to lift up so that my lower body can drop down. That's just me. Noticing breath by breath the response. So in just 2 breaths, I'm ready to switch my block. My head and neck's released a little bit more so I can just come onto a lower setting of the block. Again, thinking about softening the muscles, so letting go, noticing if you're tight through here. And it's just breath by breath, letting your butt, your right glutes begin to go. So if this version of the posture is working for you, just carry on as you are. If it's not, if you've got sore knees in any way, you're going to come onto your back. And you're going to take the posture on your back. So you're going to draw your left knee in. If you've got a wall, it's great to place your left foot on the wall. You're going to take your right ankle over the left knee. So you're creating kind of figure of 4. So if you haven't got the wall, you might take your hands, one hand between your legs, one hand around the back of your left thigh. You want to have your head and shoulders on the mat, so if you need some support with a block or a bolster, go for it. But ideally head and neck down, head and shoulders down rather. You can catch either the back of the left thigh or the shin. But the work is, remember, into the glutes on the right side. So actually I don't really need to go to the shin. I can get it quite nicely just by catching the thigh. You might want to lift the left leg to really what works for you. You can just release it. So I find that the action, because you're trying to keep the action to be quite minimal so that it's a sense of release, but the action's a gentle hinging open of the right hip, right at the hip socket, so at the hip flexor. So rather than thinking about pressing your knee away from you, kind of figure about the knee, just gently hinge there into the hip. And think about your butt getting really heavy and as if sinking in the direction of the mat. So you're always thinking about, what am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? How can I let go? And with the how can I let go, you're thinking about, how am I moving, or how am I holding, and where am I moving from? Where am I releasing from? So it's this real curious inquiry into your physical body. So if you're in a sleeping swan on your front, very slowly walk your hands just below your shoulders and gently press back into child's pose. If you're in figure of 4 on your back, slowly begin to release. Take your hands away. And if you've got a wall, take both legs up against the wall. And if you don't have a wall, just come into wrestle pose, soles of the feet to the mat. Taking a few breaths here in your rebound. slowly beginning to make your way in on the other side. So I'm going to come into the sleeping swan version, or the one on my front, on my left side. So when you go to a yoga studio, the beauty of having the teacher in the room with you is that they can come and help find the posture that's going to work for your body. So I'm giving you a couple of ideas here, and I'll try and do another video where it kind of just focuses on different areas and how to get into it. Just carry on getting into your version of the posture here. Just listen to me, which one. But really it's about having that sense of inquiry. So you know where you're working, you're trying to find something that works into your left butt cheek now. The shape is entirely up to you. Whatever it is that gets you to feel a stress, your left butt. So not the inner thigh, you really want to get out of the inner thigh, into the butt. The shape that gets you there, that's what's going to work. And the teacher can give you ideas, because maybe we've seen a few more shapes on a few more bodies. But this is your body. So just be really inventive and curious as to what feels like it might get you to that space. And once you're there, feeling that edge, it should pretty much be a bit uncomfortable somewhere, whether it's the tissues of your body or the frustration of staying with the practice. You want to stay with that discomfort and work gently, breath by breath, beyond There's a thing with high performance teams where they talk about like being in the tension and staying with the tension, and it's really important. It helps them perform to their optimal ability, and that's absolutely true. But for many of us in the Western world and more recent years, we've stayed within a tension that is not optimal for us. We're just in a constant state of tension and stress, to such a degree that we don't even notice it anymore. So as we come into these shapes and we work on a particular area of our body and releasing tension in that spot, within that release you might begin to notice other areas of tension begin to show up that you hadn't really noticed were gathering. Use your breath to ease, to calm, to balm those spaces too. It's not really about a quick fix, it's about noticing and supporting, and then working with. and slowly coming out. So once again, either coming through child's pose or from your back, just come into wrestle posture. Take a few moments and you'll rebound. Slowly making your way up to sit or to kneel. So runners and riders, coming back to the quads. So whereas we're working into the soles of the foot with the broken toe at the beginning, it could maybe work into the quads a little bit, but now we're really focusing on the fronts of the thighs. So in any version of this posture, you want to be out of any pain in your knee. Pain in your knee is not what we're looking for, but pain anywhere is not what we're looking for. Stress is absolutely what we're looking for. Discomfort is awesome. So I like to use a bolster for this. We're going to come into half saddle. So I'll give two options for this, but if you've got a bolster or a puff, it's great. Sit a little bit further away from it. If you've got any lower back issues, sit closer to it. But if you sit a little bit further, you just get a little micro bend in your back, which is quite nice. So I'll start on my left side just because I'm that direction to you, but start maybe on your right. So you're bringing your leg, first leg, ankle up towards hip. Knees are broadly in line. If it's causing pain on your knee, come out and I'll show you what to do next. But if you're okay here, you can take your foot in L shape, tucked under. It's really whatever is comfortable in your body. If it's really uncomfortable through the front of your ankle, taking like a jumper or something just to pad, to support that ankle is a really good idea. You always want to find a space to be comfortable. You're going to come to lie back. So you come back over your block or your bolsters or whatever it is you've got. If you've now got a nice stretch into the front of your quads, if you don't and you just come all the way down to the mat, that's amazing and awesome and good for you, but it's just where your body's taking you. So if when you come down your knees popping up, take a bit more support, so take a block or two underneath your bolster, lift your torso a little bit, and then come to rest back. If when you come all the way down to the mat you don't feel anything at all, take a block or a couple of books underneath your butt, lifting your hip bones a little bit. You're lifting your hips, but then your hip bones are a bit higher, and that might help create a bit more of a stretch into the front of the hip flexor. So first of all working quads, but then it starts working into the top of the leg as well. So wherever feels good for you, you can then begin to play with your opposite leg. So bending the knee, bring the sole of the foot to the mat, and then if you let that leg wing out to the side, you'll slightly change where you feel that stress in the active leg. So noticing where that works for you today, choosing what to be with. So if this posture is just not a happy place for your body, you're going to come to lie on your stomach. You're going to take your strap, your dressing gown, forward once more. Take it around. So I'm working on my left side, so I'm taking it around my left foot. And you just bring it up. You want your elbows to be on the mat, so you're nice and relaxed. And you're bringing your heel to your bum. And again, you're looking to find a stress in the front of your thigh. So think about the area you're working into. The heel towards bum is kind of the cue to get you somewhere there. But if I think just about heel to bum, heel to bum, heel to bum, I kind of stop even noticing my thigh. I'm just like thinking about my heel and my glute switches on. So like use these cues as a direction, but your focus is on the area. So front of left thigh. breathing into the tissues. Sending your breath and your attention to the changes, the shifts within your physical body. Noticing any shifts and loosenings in your mental, emotional, energetic body. So if you're working on your right side, with your right knee bent, slowly roll a little to your left to release your right leg and just extend it. You can keep the support behind you if you've got it. If you're on your front, just let the strap go, releasing the leg, coming into your rebound. And you're going to go ahead on the opposite side. So again, choosing which one's going to work for you, and it might actually be a different version of the posture on each side of your body. I'm going to come back into the half saddle version. Take my block, bolster rather, bending my right leg so that my right knee is in line with my left, but my right ankle is up by my right hip. Slowly rolling back onto the bolster. Noticing if it feels good to bend my left leg. Today it feels good just to keep that left leg extended. I'm working into the tension that's created into the front of my right thigh. Hands can just relax down, rest on your belly, come over your head, wherever feels good for you. There's no perfect place, apart from what's perfect for you today. Noticing the qualities of tension. Sometimes they feel like hard, like rock. It's never going to shift, it's never going to move. Other times it's ropey, or it's spongy, like there's a chance there might be some give there. Being really attentive to those qualities and noticing how your exhales in particular shift you to something, to somewhere new. So you're balancing your body with these exercises and postures and the breath exercise itself and the pranayama, just breathing in and breathing out, is balancing your nervous system. With the inhales, we activate our sympathetic nervous system, we become attentive, ready for action, but in doing so we can really feel a bit more acutely, accurately notice. And with our exhales, we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and restore as it's known. And that allows us to let go, to release, to soften the muscles, to release the hydration into the tissues that we're working into a little bit more. So each breath is taking you to a new place. New level of awareness, new experience of release. you're slowly going to come out of this. So if you are on your back, you're going to gently roll to your opposite side. So I was on my right, so I'm going to roll to my left to release both legs. If you're on your belly, just come to lie on your back. If you've got a bolster or a block behind you, just take that away. Coming onto your back. Coming into your pentacle. Rebound. So often we'll think about stretching before active practice, like for about milliseconds, and then we'll maybe stretch for about 5 minutes if we're lucky after warming up, warming down or whatever. But actually that's pretty much doing nothing. I mean, it's really takes these 3 to 5 minutes to work into these tissues to let them warm up. And this is a really awesome practice to do before you go for a run or you go for a cycle. Also after, I would really encourage you to do just a few of these poses, like 3 postures, 15 minutes before you go for a run or a cycle. See how it feels, how it changes your experience. To work in a martial fitness gym, working with the kickboxers and boxers. One of the guys there said to me that when he does yin, he feels like he's got juice in his joints. It just feels like it's all bouncy and it's got that bit more softness cushioning into his joints for when he's kicking the hell out of something. Slowly making your way. Coming from up, and for our final posture, we're going to come up the body a little bit. So I'm just carry on with an option to work into the lower body. We're going to open the heart. So again, on blocks, books, really awesome. I'm doing this in the morning, so you're always a bit tighter in the morning, so I'm taking some support. I'm going to do supported fish. Taking a block or a book. So we're taking the block horizontally, so you're going to take the block so that it's just below your shoulder blades or bra strap. But go with shoulder blades because people wear their bras in a really odd place. So you come onto your block and you want the shoulder blades to melt over the edge of the block. So if you kind of wing down, you can feel it's like nudged. In doing so, cracks open your heart. See if, like me, you're tight through your neck. Maybe take another block or a book behind your head just to ease the back of the neck and also gently support the opening in the front of the throat. You're going to take your legs, so we're still working legs into butterfly, soles of the feet together, knees wide, and you can take your feet a little bit further away from you so it's really open diamond shape. If this is creating too much tension in your lower back, forget about the legs, just lengthen them or even bend the knees. Arms can come over your head if that feels really great, which it does for me today. So you want your shoulder blades to kind of melt into the space towards that you've created with the block towards the mat. But if this is creating any tingling in your fingertips or anything in your shoulders that's uncomfortable, taking your arms either a little bit wider or all the way down, maybe hands on the hip sockets, elbows on the mat. It's whatever feels good in your body. You want to feel open through your heart, through your chest. You can take the biggest breath. And again, this might be a little uncomfortable, which is fine. Gently working into the knots and spots in your body. So this is too much on my lower back this morning, so I'm just going to open my legs. If you've got any knots, tension, the pressure of your body weighing down onto them, will gently work them. You'll probably even hear it in my voice. As you breathe into those areas of tension, also breathe into the expansion of your heart. Sending a deep breath down to your pelvic floor. Exhale, release. Noticing any sensations, vibrations that show up as you simply breathe into these spaces. Breathe into your belly. Breathing in. Breathing out. Sending your breath to your heart and all the space around it, filling it. Exhale and release. Sending your breath to your collarbone and your throat. Letting it go. Gently rolling to one side. Releasing your blocks, releasing whatever support you've got beneath you. Coming to lie on your back. Coming into either pentacle or wrestle pose with knees up, whichever feels right for you, particularly into your lower back. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Nothing to do, nothing to stress, nothing to notice. Just be, breathe, surrender. Sending your breath to your fingers and your toes. Waking up your fingers and your toes, your wrists, your ankles. With an inhale, taking your arms over your head, yawning into every part of your body, extending from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. As you exhale, hug your knees towards your chest. Dropping to one side, left side if it's available for you, but it doesn't really matter too much. Taking a breath in and a breath out. And then until making your way up to a comfortable seat. Bring your hands together at heart center in prayer. Eyes closed or gaze soft to your fingertips. Growing tall from your sit bones, the crown of your head, as you inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. One more in. And let it go. Thumb knuckles, the third eye center. With a quiet mind and an open heart. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me. I hope your legs feel nice and juicy when you go for a run or a walk or a trot, whatever it is you're going to do. As usual, any comments, please send them my way, email, phone, WhatsApp, Facebook, whatever it is for you. Anything you'd like to see more of, I'll make it happen. Thank you.